George Soros, the man who almost made the Britain banks go broke, and how he made $1 billion in a day, one of the most legendary trades of all time. But to explain how he did it, we need to dive back in time a little bit. You see, in 1951, after the World War II, a handful of European countries decided to come together to consolidate their power and build a better economy. So, establishing trade relations and helping each other out reduces the likelihood of another war. So, France, Belgium, Netherlands, and other European countries come together to strike a deal. They signed a Treaty of Paris and established European Coal and Steel Community. Its aim was to protect trade and diplomatic relations. Over the years, countries realized that Europe would benefit from a single currency to strengthen its economy, but they were reluctant to give up their individual power. It took a lot of convincing, but in 1979, they established the ERM, the exchange rate mechanism. This ensures that all members of the countries establish fixed exchange rates with each other's currency. Impressed with the ERM success, members of the ECC realized that their dream of creating an all-European currency was possible. In 1991, the currency would finally emerge under a unifying name, the euro. But before that could happen, the ECC had to prepare reducing exchange rate variability and stabilizing monetary policy were the top priorities. Since Germany had the strongest economy at the time, each country tied its currency value to this. All the pieces of George Soros' scandal were finally falling into place. All that was left for him was for the United Kingdom to join the ERM. What made the UK finally joining the ERM was inflation. You see, inflation rose from 3% to 10.9% in just 2 years. So the UK joined the ERM to avoid recession by tying its economy to Dutchman. But unfortunately, UK still entered recession. But to maintain the recession, the Reserve Bank would normally lower interest rates to prop up the economy. But you see, lowered rates had negative effects on the value of currency. If they wanted to stick with the ERM, it had to tap into foreign currency reserves and buy pounds to drive up the value of the currency. From 1990 to 1992, England supported its currency by spending billions to keep it afloat. Currency traders across the globe started shorting the British pounds, and the bank had to keep buying it from the market to increase its value. You see, how was Soros the man who broke the Bank of England? You see, he wasn't the only one with the idea of making obscene profit by shorting the currency. So why is everyone talking about him? Unlike a lot of traders, Soros knew when to strike. He was looking for the right time and the right moment. He positioned himself perfectly to make massive gains and undermine the government effort to keep the currency steady. On September 15, Soros told his associates, "It's time to go nuclear." Soros bet everything he had against the British pounds. He began shorting the British pounds aggressively. On September 16, as soon as the market opened, the Bank of England started buying its currency in an attempt to discourage the bearish currency traders. But Soros was crashing the currency as soon as it rose, even the tiniest. The struggle continued through the morning. The bank raised interest rates to 10%, then 12%, then 15% to lure investors into buying pounds. But nothing worked. The currency value dropped by 9.5%. As Soros and the Bank of England continued to dwell throughout the day, in the end, he won the battle. His clever tactics earned him $1 billion in profits. England was forced to admit defeat. Soros shorted more than $10 billion worth of pound sterling and earned a profit of $1 billion, decimating the currency value in the process. Britain lost €3.3 billion and had to withdraw from the ERM. The country had been beaten fair and square, which didn't make the blow any easier to take. The whole humiliating affair had a massive impact on the economy and damaged the Bank of England's standing. He didn't play safe. He didn't take it easy. He went for the jugular, and it earned him a fortune. But wait, who is George Soros? He was born in Budapest, Hungary on August 12, 1930. Back then, he was named Georgi Schwartz, but his father changed his name because it sounds too Jewish. In fact, the whole family changed their name to Soros, which means to soar in Esperanto, and it also means next in line in Hungarian. The change of name was due to the sharp rise in anti-Semitism in Hungary during the 1930s after the Nazis occupied Hungary in March 1944. They prohibited Jewish children from going to school and forced them to work. George and his family probably avoided being sent to concentration camps by buying documents that said they were Christians. He and his family were very well off, so they were able to do such a thing. After the Allies defeated the Nazis, the Soviet Union eventually took control of Hungary, and George Soros didn't like their control of his country much better. Sure, he and his family didn't have to pretend to be Christians anymore, but after getting in trouble for writing the word Amen in a newspaper he helped make with his father, so he looked to get out of Hungary. By 1947, he has his heart set to England and he soon moved there. He worked mediocre jobs while trying to get into college. He finally enrolled in London School of Economics. In school, Soros did pretty well and finished his regular studies a year earlier. But he has been heavily influenced by the writing of the great philosopher Karl Popper. Unfortunately for George, he became his tutor. Karl Popper's theory was that nothing can be known with absolute certainty, so the default should always be a more open society with lots of different ideas for a better understanding. So his journey began.